Hi everyone. In this video, I'll be talking about passive migrant. Passive migrant is not about a label, but rather it's just to bring our attention to how perhaps because of some of the difficulties we are faced in our migration journeys can actually make us become passive. So it's not a label really. It's also not a failure, but rather a psychological response to migration. Have you become passive? Okay, let me explain what the concept of passive means or passivity. It means when people don't take action, they just sit down there. You would say, I know someone would say to me, nobody just sits down there. Sometimes it may not actually be that physical sitting down, but rather psychological responses of not being active, of not doing anything, of not even thinking ahead, of not even having a clear goal or plans ahead about life or about migration. And so people can then become passive, which may actually linger. People could become depressed. Sometimes I see different social media handles, accounts of people after migration, spouses falling out, children falling out, a lot of things. And sometimes, if you look at maybe what really happened, it may just be there are so many reasons, but sometimes it may just be somebody being passive. For instance, maybe due to different cultural backgrounds, in some part of the world, males are seen to be providers. They are the ones that provide, whereas the women keeps their own money. And whereas when you now come abroad, both of you, or perhaps the man was the one doing it alone. Now you've come abroad, and it's like that's culture over there. It's not the same here. Can we do things together? Or the man may decide to say, he's tired. He can't do this job. He can't do that. Maybe because he was a big man in his own country. What the concept of big man means like maybe he had got into the peak of his career. He blossomed, he did well, and now he has migrated. And it's like all of the kind of jobs people are telling him to do does not really appeal to him. And he feels he can't do it. And it's like, okay, what next if you can't do this? And with that, that creates a whole lot of troubles at home in the marriage, leading to so many things. So at that point, you can say that partner, whether male or female, who has decided not to do anything, has become passive, not involved. He is not interested in his growth in that new place he has found himself or he decided to come to. And being passive does not just only affect that person who is passive, it affects a whole lot of dynamics. If they have children or if he has children, it affects his children. Their outlook on life becomes very different. If he has a wife, our own outlook too might be different. And this may actually create, strife at home. The man involved or who is passive may say, is it because you are thriving? Or the woman who is passive may say, is it because you are passing exams? Or is it because you are the peak of your career? Or is it because you are doing well? And can you see? At that point, the home or the families are no longer in unity. There is no longer balance. And in that moment, one person is actually afraid to move up. Most especially if the man is the passive one. The women in those kind of situations or in those marriages would rather sit back and not do anything. And I would also say to those women, you are not helping yourself. You're not even helping your husband. You're not helping your family. You have your own goals as well as human. When I talk about goals, I'm not just looking at goals of working, doing office work alone, but life goals, which is not limited, to just working in one office or just being a provider. No, there are more to it. Your sanity too is also at stake. For that man as well, his sanity is also at stake because everything the wife does, because she's flourishing, is actually not happy. Resentment has come in, or there's a lot of resentment towards his wife. But passivity actually does not do anybody good. So people can become passive for so many reasons. If you are, that kind of person that because you've migrated, you've become passive, why not just start changing your outlook about life? Start seeing life differently. I know you're mourning loss. I mean, whether physical loss, loss of status, loss of identity, loss of, so many things, loss of community back in your home country. You're mourning, you're grieving, and you're like, oh, I was not here. I actually stopped in a particular place. Now I have to start all over. And that's one thing about migration. Everybody at one point in time who migrated would actually have to start all over. Some people may not even start their careers all over, but you start all over, meeting people you've never met before, eating food you've never eaten before, having cultural shocks, seeing things differently, reasoning differently. A lot of things actually now changes. So you want to become a tree of life to people around you. Imagine, this beautiful tree is green. You want to be green on the inside. You want to become fruitful. In order for you to become fruitful, you have to become active in your own growth, in the growth of the people around you. You can't just sit back and do nothing. You can't just watch. I've seen a lot of people that I would say that opportunities were all around and they just did not make use of it. They just watched until maybe they became old, or perhaps until the opportunity slipped away. Sometimes, when you talk about your journey in the next 5 years, you're not waiting for that next 5 years to come until you start something, but rather where you are right now, you start becoming who you want to be in the next few years. You start becoming that person you are intended to become, or the person you have been created to become. Start that journey now. It's never too late. I've seen people, who say, oh, I'm waiting for this and that. Be prepared. Opportunity comes every day. It prepares. Opportunity actually presents itself in different ways. Be prepared. Don't give up. It's time to brace up. It does not matter, what might have happened through that journey of migration. I know it matters, but what I'm trying to say is that don't just become stuck. Stand up, arise. The Bible says, arise, shine. Your light has come. You are a light. You can't afford to dim that light. You cannot afford to just stay there. You can't afford to just be there. If you need to start writing the exams, give no excuses. Start writing the exam. If you need to pay that school fees for yourself, start doing it now. Many times when people call from home, from abroad to say, I need money, you are easy to quickly give them. But have you ever thought of investing in your own self? You've become passive about your own life, but rather you're active towards people. That is not the way to live life. No, I do not agree to that kind of life. Rather, that may even be a form of showmanship, like you're trying to pass messages across that you've arrived when you have not even. Why are you passive about your own life? Become intentional about your growth. Become intentional about your family. Or maybe perhaps you are the one they always call at home, abroad, for things. Have you ever sat down, if you have family, to actually think about their own needs? A lot of people, or I would say some people don't even do it, but they are saviors, back at home. Don't do that. It does nobody good. Become active in your own family, your immediate family. Forget that, passive lifestyle. Start taking action. Sometimes when it comes to like, some people say, when we look at, for instance, when we look at all these visa fees, they cost so much. And sometimes people are, quick to when it gets to that point when they're about to pay for such services, it becomes hard. But when you look at that amount you've sent to people abroad, and that amount you need, perhaps maybe it's almost the same. Why not start planning for your own life? Start planning for that ILR. Even if it is in 1 year's time, it's not when you get to that point you start looking for the money. Start now. Become active in your own life. There are different characteristics of passive migrant. They are isolated. They think they know it all. They don't want anybody to teach them. They think they can actually grow on their own. It's possible, but it's only what their own mindset can actually conceive. It's only what they can actually see. So, but if you want to grow well with others. Don't become isolated. Don't think you know it all. It's also not a sign of weakness when you ask for help. I tell people, it's living abroad is a system, and you need to understand the system. People don't just grow. It's growth is transformational. It's not magical. It's a process over progress. How intentional are you about your own growth? Don't just think you can do it all alone. Don't just think things will just come like that. No. Many times, passive people wait until they wait. Oh, when you ask them, when are you applying for that job? They are not applying. They don't know. You don't have to wait until things get rotten. Don't do it. Your life is precious. Many times, when I look at sometimes, the way people grow up, passivity might actually be ingrained in some people unknowingly. When you ask them, oh, how did you tackle the situation? I just left it. I just slept over it and I did not worry. I didn't get worried and everything went. That's a sign of passivity. You just allow things to just happen without you taking action, without you being in control. You just think, oh, it just went like that. Things don't just settle like that. Don't be passive. Become active. Don't even try to even avoid that conflict. Stand your ground. Create your boundaries. And when you are meant to speak up, speak up. I hear sometimes, a lot of times, when people say, I've decided to leave it for God. You can't leave everything for God. You also need to do something. With God helping you, directing you, you need to be active. Yeah. So it's a sign of passivity when people just leave things. They feel life will figure out itself. You need to figure out yourself. You need to know what you want. You need to know what you're thinking about. You need to think, reflect. If you've tried it this way and it did not work out, why not try a new thing? Why not think differently? I want you to become active in your journey. Don't become that passive migrant. Become that active migrant. An active migrant, actually, they have greater things ahead of them, greater opportunities that they are able to actually take hold of because they have prepared themselves for it. Are you prepared for that growth? Are you prepared for what God is about to do in your life? Even in this your migration journey, how prepared are you? When you shift from becoming passive to becoming active, a whole lot of things will change in your life. Become green, become fruitful, be all that God wants you to be beyond borders. Don't just stay there. Don't just, say, I cannot come and kill myself. No, you won't kill yourself. Be active, grow, be intentional. Write your vision down. Look at it, make it plain. Stick it on your wall. Whatever thing, oh God, I want to be the best at this. Stick it there. Put a note. Write it down. Write it down. There's a There's an adage that says the faintest pen is stronger or is better than the sharpest memory, which means that the things you write down, you are able to remember. But the things you just put in your head, you may not be able to remember everything. Even though you can say, oh, I'm very sharp, I remember things a lot, but there are things that you may not be able to remember. And some of those things are those very important things that would help you. Write things down, reflect, sit down, look at those things again. Thank you. I want you to become active in your growth. Take hold of opportunities. Stand up. Speak up when you're meant to speak up. Don't become passive. Don't allow life or time. Some people say time heals wounds. No, if you don't address those wounds, they will become like that. They will even damage you one the more. Start your journey into being active. Take hold of that destiny God has for you. See you at the top by God's grace. Bye. Thank you.